Alright guys, what is up? Today I'm gonna be pulling my turbo off my car, disassembling it, and then showing you everything you could possibly want to know about a turbocharger. If you're wondering why the quality is better than before, I just barely upgraded the camera. If you want to know all the specs and you care about cameras, stay till the end of the video and I will talk about this camera. Alright guys, this is my Precision 5858 turbo. As you can see, I'm going to be pulling it off. It shouldn't be hard at all, but I have this guy right here, this intercooler pipe right here, my hood exit dump tube, and then that's pretty much it. Alright you guys, it is completely disconnected. The turbo is ready to be pulled out, so let's pull it out. Alright you guys, this is my turbo. So as you can see, this is a Precision 5858 turbo. It's been really good for me so far. It's definitely a pretty big size turbo. This is bigger than any turbo you'll see on a stock car, but let's get into the whole turbo and dissecting it and exactly what goes on inside. Alright you guys, I'm gonna start with the inlet cover, which is this part, the whole silver part. I'm gonna pull that off first, and then I'll get to the exhaust housing. Alright you guys, as you can see, I have pulled the cover off. So this is what it looks like. This is the inlet cover, and it looks in really good shape, honestly, which is awesome. That's pretty much all there is to see on that guy. The cool thing about turbos is that you can customize them in any way you want. So since my turbine is a pretty good size, it's a 5858 turbine, this inlet is also a pretty good size. But since I was having spooling issues and my turbo was having way too much lag, meaning it was taking a while for it to hit its peak power, this one I downsized to a smaller exhaust housing. So this exhaust housing is a 0.64 AR. As you can see right there, 0.64 AR. So this exhaust housing is quite a small exhaust housing, while this inlet is a pretty decent size, and the turbo itself, the turbine on the inside, is also a pretty decent size. Now I'm going to get to taking off the exhaust cover, the exhaust housing, and I'm going to put the inlet cover back on. Alright you guys, before we get to the exhaust housing, let's talk about the oil lines. So basically this is the oil drain. It does exactly what the name says. It drains the oil. This will be on the bottom, and then a hose will go over this, and it will take the oil from the turbo and put it back into the engine. Most turbos, or a lot of turbos, will have actually four plugs for them. They'll have an oil feed, an oil drain. They'll also have another hole right here, or another bolt, for a coolant feed, as well as a coolant drain on the other side. But this turbo only has oil lines, which is good and bad. Oil lines, just oil lines means that the turbo will be simpler and a little bit easier to work with. Coolant lines will mean that the turbo will cool down quite a bit more, and it's also just a nice thing to have. But I also really like having just oil lines because it'll be so much easier to work on my car. You guys, when I am talking about turbos and I say a precision 5858 turbo, the 5858 is talking about the turbo size, and it's talking about the turbine itself. I believe each turbine side can be a different size, and so this is a 58 millimeter maybe, or it's just a random size, but I believe the first number is for the inlet and the second number is for the outlet, but it's not talking about the cover. It's not talking about this part when it says 5858. It's talking about the turbine on the inside. So I believe this is a 5858 turbine with, guys, it's time to take off this exhaust housing. Be careful when you take it off. You don't want to hit the turbine housing. All right, the exhaust housing is ready to come off. And it's off. So this is what the exhaust housing looks like. This one is special in particular because it has a 3-inch V-band right here, as well as a 2-inch V-band, I believe, right here. The reason why this is so significant is because V-bands flow extremely well. They also are extremely easy to work with. So if you can imagine 5 bolts right here, 5 bolts around this instead of one V-band. The V-band is what holds the downpipe onto the turbo, or also holds the turbo onto the manifold right there. But the V-band is way easier to work with. Instead of having like a bolt pattern right here, as you often see, usually you have to bolt your downpipe and there's like a 4 or 5 bolt pattern right here, similar to what you would bolt the compressor or the exhaust housing to the turbo with. But instead, these are bolting it to the downpipe or to the manifold. Usually the inlet always has this intercooler piping port as well as the inlet port. All right, you guys, as promised, this is what the camera looks like. It's a Sony a6300. It shoots in 4K, and hopefully the quality will be a lot better. I've been trying to make better videos lately, and I'm going to be posting a lot more often. So if you guys like these videos, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and stay tuned for the next video.